my good chair. Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never popped into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And outside here, if you don't know, I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And Canada has just, gone through a bit of a cold snap. A cold snap that I think in my ideas is welcomed. It's time for winter. We have had such a mild winter up until now. I am already looking towards spring. So if winter doesn't get started, it won't get finished. And that is that optimism that I have. It's always the changing of seasons. Change is always happening. And we always change, right? I'm 62 years old. Going back, I could just drop pictures of me going back, a collage of pictures just to see all those physical changes in me. But just as much as there have been physical changes, and not just physical changes, there have been financial changes, there have been changes in my work situations. I have had so many different jobs. I couldn't even count, honestly, how many jobs I've had in my life, right? Lots of people. I admire my brother-in-law Ian because he goes to work, and he's gone to work to the same job for over 25 years. And a good job, a job that supports him and supports his family, which is my family, right? He takes such good care of my sister and my niece, and I am, right, very grateful to be able to call him not just brother-in-law, but I could also call him my friend. He actually walked me down the aisle when I got married. Yes, I was married at a time. Amazing man. Have nothing negative to say about that marriage, except maybe it might have ended a little bit earlier than what I would have preferred. But there are timings in everything. Hello, everybody. Just to give you the heads up, yesterday, was it yesterday? Yesterday, we picked the word. Let me get my sheet here. We got the word enthusiasm, and it is our 24th word. 24th word, enthusiasm. We've been doing this now for 25 weeks because we got the word acceptance twice, right? So for 25 weeks, we have been picking a powerful word and been working through it through the whole week. Today I was in, right, doing things around the house. I got 3 loads of laundry done. I did a lot better today in that motivation than I did yesterday. And in that, I'm feeling pretty good in this moment in those things that I got accomplished. Some of those things actually that I have been putting off that I should have gotten a little bit sooner done because it was so easy. And it was just spur of the moment today that I was going to the post office and sending off mail and stuff, right? These chores that I could have done literally a month ago. I could have done it when I took all my Christmas packages and Christmas mails to the post office. I could have done it. I could have done it then, but it's done now. I'm feeling it's good that it's off the plate, right? Something that I don't have. We talked about this yesterday, these things that we get off our plates, these responsibilities and these difficulties, these sometimes it's our house bills, sometimes how we're going to put our kids through college. It's these things that we compulsively think about that bring us down. And for myself, I've never had a real need, I think, or maybe it's not the matter of not having a need, but there wasn't ever a desire to even bring these topics up. And again, it's probably because of who I surrounded myself with or who I didn't surround myself with, right? And because it's to a minimum, right? There's more likely less impact by whatever choices that I make. And that's something that is fairly new in my life, that feeling of the isolation. And I know I'm doing it to myself because I am becoming, I'm going to call it enthusiastic, right? I am enthusiastic for what I am going to be bringing to the table. I'm saying going to bring to the table. I can bring to the table in the experience of my day to day showing up here live, right? But uh, for what I have in dreams and have goals and these ideas of possibilities for myself, you know, that enthusiasm for what I need to do to be able to get there. And that's the lessons, right? That's the lessons. And there isn't a lot of momentum in that. There's a lot of sitting your sitting your butt down and paying attention, right? And for somebody, right, highly sensitives and empathics, we tend to be a little bit hyper vigilant. We tend to be a little bit ADHD, right? We are not bound to our seats in any way in order to get things done. We're usually up and about numerous times in the process because things do need to be broken up because we can be distracted. And when we do get distracted, things don't get absorbed properly. It's why I don't like, I listen to thought leadership. I listen to amazing leaders out in the world who have got something to say or something important that they want to bring to our attention, right? How can I be paying attention if I'm doing the dishes, right? That I'm not properly absorbing. And I certainly cannot see the monitor and I can't see the actual visuals. And, being again highly sensitive and empathic, we go by the visuals, don't we? Right? Being hyper vigilant, we are paying attention. And when I'm in thought leadership, right? A lot of what I pick up and what I resonate with, what I feel to be true, is that little bit of investigation that I'm doing when it's being presented to me, when it's being baby fed to me, right? Right? That I actually paying attention to that. And I have to say, I am grateful for the enthusiasm that I have for what I do. But it wasn't always there. I didn't know, right? I knew I couldn't be urban exploring. I couldn't be exploring abandoned farms, abandoned houses, abandoned one room schoolhouses, right? One room churches. I couldn't do that forever because, right, time does pass. And, whatever I was going to bring to the table, it was going to take my entire focus, all my time, all my effort, all my energy. And it's going to have to be content there for me to divvy out. And so I had to reassess, right? Knowing that I loved being a YouTuber. The plan was I was going to be working in the background. The plan was not for me to be up front as a as a creator myself, right? I was building my brand to sell it in all truth, right? But things change, and those pivots and those choices and that change that came into my life were all opportunities for me to make a better choice. And because I knew I was going to be 60 one day, then I knew I was going to be 61, 62, right? I'm going to be 65, I'm going to be 70 years old. And I going to be wandering around these abandoned buildings? Am I going to be doing this bushcraft, outdoor wilderness things, I would like to think that I would be, right? I'm going to do it for as long as I can, right? But how am I going to do that without those funds? Because, right, those dreams are just as extravagant as any other dream that I could have brought or did bring to the table, right? So I have to think, right? How am I going to manage to do that? How am I going to pay for a vehicle? How am I going to manage to be on the road 24/7, 365 days a year? Maybe not that as much, but lots. Be out on the road lots and be able to put that roof over my head and put those wheels, right, into motion, right? That means getting a good paying job. And that's how it started for me. It just started there. The momentum was, what was I going to do? And I stuck on the content. I looked at everybody who was successful in, I don't know why I felt it was necessary, but I did. I'm very grateful because I recognize my limiting beliefs. I recognize my shortcomings right away. Maybe it was the way that I was programmed. Maybe it was the way that I was brought up. But you come across a content that says, just ask, and that you resonate with these ideas of never giving up and adapting and conquering and finding a way, and you can do it, and courage, and expand out yourself and get out of your comfort zone. Oh my goodness, that was just like that. You couldn't stand in front of me with those, what do you call those things that you shake around with the cheerleaders, right? The shakers that are all spark. You couldn't have cheerleaded in front of me as much. I gobbled up. I survived on that. And in being able to just survive in my day to day, because at that time, right, I was struggling in my day to day. My whole life was crashing. And if you've been with me for any length of time, I came pretty close to becoming homeless myself. And for the grace, it didn't happen, right? And I'm grateful for the lessons that I got in there. And because I stuck with it, because I never gave up, right? Because I really believed in the lessons that were being served to me, right? That I started to see the evidence in my own life. And eventually, a leader, right? A leader, right? She was mentor. She was thought leadership for sure, and she was a life coach for actors, for people who are on Broadway. She did training with them so that they could get into character and stuff. And she really came down to their levels of understandings and actually didn't just teach them, right, how to get into character, but how to dig deep into their own experiences and their own feelings, right? And be able to, right, create a character out of that. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's so amazing. Because if there's anything that I can bring to the table, that's experiences. This is how I thought. This is how I thought. And she was such a kind lady. And people were really paying attention and taking in her lessons, and she was renowned all over the world. Oh, what was her name? Ah, Chewbacca. Her last name was Chewbacca. Oh, her first name, now forgive me, I don't know. And I used to know her name, but I haven't gone into her content for a while. But she inspired me, and I thought, oh, I could do that, right? Hello, Melvin. No, dear, it's not. It's only minus 20 Celsius here in Winnipeg. The snow stopped this morning. And yeah, we got into that little pocket, that that winter wind draft that comes around in the winter time that freezes everything up. We just kind of nicked a nice clearing of it in the southeastern corner of the province. And yet, right, a big chunk of North America is under it. I haven't gone into the Weather Channel at all. I don't know what the other provinces or states are doing. How are you doing, Melvin, with the temperatures? Is it interfering with your life anyway? Yeah, he was just asking about the weather here. We're just coming out of a cold spell, and it wasn't much here in Winnipeg. It just lasted for a couple of days. Mind you, I was out today and it was minus 18 Celsius when I went out, but it did feel like it was minus 30, minus 40. It felt cold. But then again, remember what I said that winter came late this year, so we're getting that winter shock like just now, right? And it'll take us a week or two to get adjusted to it. And hopefully by the next couple of weeks, we can already start anticipating some of those warm days. It's actually, oh, how, Melvin? How, Melvin? Tell me, do you clear roads? I know you work in the fields in the summer, but do you clear roads? I'm wondering how it interfered with his life. I don't mind the winter. I just make sure I'm bundled up for it. I make sure I'm bundled up for it. And I wasn't able to walk home last Monday or last Thursday from work because of the snow drifts. There was too much snow. People were walking on the main drags to get home or to even get to a bus stop or anything because there was just too much blowing snow. Not like there was a lot of snow, but a lot of the snow was just blowing around. Oh, four-wheel drive. I love the four-wheel drive. How's the truck moving, Melvin? How's that new truck moving along? I bet you it's just nice. I was just actually just talking about that, my enthusiasm for moving forward, my enthusiasm in finding a niche for myself so that, when I did become immobile, because I'm not expecting it in the next 20 years, but it's going to happen eventually. And I don't want it to be an uncomfortable transition because no matter what, I'm showing up here, right? Right till the very end. And if I live to be the 114 years old, which is the plan for me, plan I set in place, which is the goal that I'm reverse engineering. That I'm reverse engineering 114 years old. That's what I set for myself. Oh, I bet you, Melvin. Oh my goodness. Right? I love a nice vehicle too. I get my opportunity to drive something nice in September. I'm thinking that I would like to have the Jeep Wagoneer this year, or the other one was the Lincoln um, Navigator, the Lincoln Navigator. One of those two vehicles for my trip next year. That's what I'm thinking. I like the Jeep. It just wasn't big enough for what I wanted to use it for. And I'm actually thinking of coming down to Utah and Arizona. I'll be hitting a few of the states going down there too in September. I'm thinking of switching it out. And then I'm thinking of maybe, right, I'm going to do a separate trip this year to do my amethyst mining, right? I'm thinking possibly I would still do that one in September. I don't know. I'm going to try and work it around some kind of workshop or seminar or convention or something in some of the, right? Maybe go to listen to somebody speak. Maybe I'll go and listen to, I don't know who I would like. I wouldn't mind going to see Dr. Gabor Mate, right? I think he would be somebody interesting to go see. I think Professor Sam Vatkin for me would be interesting. Uh, I don't think I'm not sure. I don't know him well enough, his content well enough, if he just interviews, but I wouldn't mind meeting Lex Fridman, right? And having a bit of a conversation there. Uh, but a few people, and it's not necessarily even to meet them in person, but actually just to go and be in that atmosphere, right? I find those atmospheres and those events to be extremely exciting because, well, number one, you're around people who like the same kind of things as you do, right? Do you remember the name of the psychic who used to be on TV? Was there a psychic on YouTube or on TV? I'm trying to think. Psychic on TV. Kreskin. No, Melvin, I never heard of Tell me, tell me. You got a story to tell me. I want to hear. Okay, so Melvin says, do you remember the name of the psychic who used to be on TV? And then he says, Kreskin. Okay, so what is the relation to why you asked me that, Melvin? I'm interested. I'm interested to know. Um, when it came to psychics or anything, I've never gone to see any of them. But my dad used to love hypnotists. He used to drag me all the time to go see hypnotists all the time. He loved hypnotists. He actually fancied himself as a hypnotist himself. He used to practice on me. I don't know how good he was, but if I ever get the opportunity to do a little bit of what do you call that? You get hypnotized and you go backwards. Oh, just to get me off the topic of renting a vehicle. Why's that, Melvin? Why's that? That's a good thing. Well, I'd much rather own one, right? Much rather. That's maybe what I better say, Melvin, is I'm going to go with the Lincoln Navigator. I'm going to buy me a Lincoln Navigator this year, right? It'll be my new my new car camping vehicle. I'll get off the topic. Something a little bit more of what I'm enthusiastic and how I wanted to draw this back. So we'll draw this back to the main branch. And then today, what I thought I would talk about is that enthusiasm for life that I have, right? It's a big one because it's a true one for me. I see out there again, sitting in on conversations and interviews and listening to different perspectives that I actually do see the troubles in people's emotions. It was one of the reasons when I thought, what can I bring to the table? And, I was taught purpose comes from your pain. And, right. So I thought this would just be perfect for me. Right. But my enthusiasm comes from my father, right? My father's love for life. He got a death sentence very early in life. In fact, he never thought that he'd be right able to live long enough to even have a family, and yet he was able to add another 25 or 30 years onto the life that, he was told that was coming to an end. And every day he woke up in the morning, right? And he had that question on his mind, right? I'm going to live my life to the absolute fullest. Why? Because today might be my very last day. And I wouldn't want to live that way, right? My friend Kathy actually said, mentioned something about, people who think of death all the time. And my father was that person, but he had such a love for life. And, he was the evidence for me that it could be done, because my dad actually added decades to his lifespan. And I thought that that desire and that enthusiasm that he had for life, like he absolutely loved life, that I would be disrespecting him, right? Because I knew how much life meant to him. That anybody, like even my father's own brother, right, passed away by his own hand, right? So to have something like that impact you, right, it's got to make you appreciate what you have. And my dad appreciated life, and I was not going to disrespect that in any way. And right, I appreciated life. I am my father's daughter. I loved life. My one word growing up was this word despite. No matter, I was going to take from life what I wanted, what I was able to grab for myself, what I was able to call my own, and what couldn't be taken away from me, or what I wouldn't allow to be taken away from me, right? That enthusiasm for life. Enthusiasm is tied into my goals for what I want to do, right? In order to put a roof over my head. That's that social connection, that understanding, right? Through my own experiences, understanding that other people are going through similar experiences. And just like, oh, I still don't have her name. I tried to, right? Sometimes it comes to me. If I say the last word, then the first word will come. but it didn't, right? And it makes me absolutely grateful that I came across some of those lessons, because, right, if I hadn't stumbled on to something that I would have envisioned for myself, right? If I was really, really taking in the lessons, and I wasn't too sure if I was, but my enthusiasm and my excitement in the choices just kind of snowballed into this, right? Snowballed into this. And it looks a lot different than what she's doing, but at the same time, right? It takes all kinds to make the world. And she was taken care of, right? And she was the caregiver of actors, right? And I am the caregiver of caregivers, right? The lights and the darknesses. Hello, Cindy. Oh, William's here. Oh my goodness, I haven't heard from William for the longest time. Does your light have a hearing problem? I don't get it. Hello, Cindy. How are you doing? I'm doing well. I do apologize. I wasn't able to make it on the live last Sunday or this Sunday. I've been very busy. I will try my best to try to be on next Sunday. No worries, William. Whenever you're able to pop in, I'm happy. I'm happy. I was excited to see you tonight. Oh my goodness. Well, you call it a night, William. I appreciate that you popped into my live tonight, even if it's just to say hello. And if you show up on Sunday, this Sunday, we got show and tell on our chatters live. We got show and tell. So you'll be able to check out some of the things that I picked up. I picked up some amazing, amazing things. I'm pretty excited. And I've already forgotten half of the stuff I put in my bins. But yeah, show up on Sunday. Does your light have a hearing problem? I don't get it, Melvin. I don't get the question. But maybe the light does. Mm. But the enthusiasm, right, for life, my enthusiasm for what I do, my enthusiasm for showing up every day, because there is enthusiasm there, right? There's accountability. I show up because I gave my word. But I'm excited when I walk in the door, when I hit that live button, right? I am here and I am grateful for anybody that pops in, right? And hangs out with me 100%. I also wrote one more thing down, right? I wanted to mention, sometimes it's the people that we surround ourselves, right? We surround ourselves with positive people, right? I didn't understand how sad and miserable and how it kept me at bay, right? How it stopped me from envisioning and setting goals because I was so sour and I was so negative that nothing was going to surface. There were no lessons for me, there was no possibilities, and it was only my enthusiasm for being a creator, a YouTube creator. It was that enthusiasm, it was that momentum, it was that never giving up, it was that finding the way, it was that never too late, and it was finding the answers for what I needed. And it just, right, it just fueled it all. And even though it doesn't look anything like I thought it would, it doesn't look anything like the way it started, right? I'm reverse engineering, right? And whether or not it's going to look that way at the end, that's all going to be that's all going to be in my choices, right? And it's all going to be in that amount of enthusiasm that I bring into it, right? Because once I've lost that enthusiasm, because that enthusiasm is the excitement, it's the joy of it, right? And once it becomes like work. And we're saying, oh, you got to expand out of your comfort zone. You got to stretch. It's got to be painful. No, I do things in baby steps because those are things that I don't like, right? Being highly sensitives and empaths, we don't like that conflict. We don't like to be triggered like that. We don't like to be reminded of the trauma, but we know it needs to be done, right? So we do it, but we do it in the baby steps, right? We do it in the baby steps. Thank you, William, for popping into my live, right? And hopefully we'll see you on Sunday. That would be absolutely amazing if we saw you on Sunday there. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to mention about enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is part of my armor. Okay. So, in order for me to be genuine, and if we're going to tackle this conversation or this word this week, I won't be able to get halfway through the week without you recognizing that enthusiasm is a big part of my armor, right? The kinder you are, the more thoughtful you are, the more excited and happy and joyful you are, right? The more, because everybody wants those feelings, right? Everybody wants those feelings. So when you're in that state, then you draw others towards you, right? And if you have one stinker, one party pooper, one Debbie Downer, one narcissist, one bully, one little demon, right? You've got all these other joyfuls that have moved towards you because of the feelings that they are, because they're rubbing off on you and you're rubbing off on them, right? That other energy won't be able to surface because it will be just drowned out. And drowned out is a better way than being targeted and, right, chewed up or, right, attacked. And without that enthusiasm, without that joy, without that excitement, without that optimism, right? Sometimes you can become a sitting target, right? You can become a sitting target because that's what people are looking for. Sitting targets, people who aren't moving, people who are just going to take it, people who are just not turning the other cheek, people who are not paying attention, people who are going to do what you tell them to do. Oh my goodness, right? Right? So enthusiasm will also serve as armor. So going on further in the week, right? You see my smiling face on every thumbnail, right? You go into my main channel and you look at my lives and there's a big smiling face, but that's the energy, that's the enthusiasm that I want to bring to the light, even if I don't know that that is going to be a happy life because I don't know. Right? We tackle some heavy topics, and this week we got enthusiasm. So I'm very enthusiastic to see where this is going to carry us for, well, we got 3 more days, don't we, with this word enthusiasm. And right, tomorrow we'll take a look at it in another perspective, right? Knowing that it is my armor, and a lot of it is in the people that we surround ourselves with, and maybe that little bit extra enthusiasm came because I saw the evidence of my father's own existence, my father's own desire and hunger to have experiences, to stuff his life with as many experiences as he possibly could. And yes, maybe he wasn't quite thinking in that state of mind. He was thinking he was just taking his family along for the ride. But right, I wasn't awoke. None of us girls were, right? So he just thought, well, what we didn't know didn't hurt us, right? And we all make missteps, right? We all make missteps, and we have to carry that idea that we should be able to, and not only should be able to, but we should have to, right? Make allowances, right? They say there is no excuse for ignorance, right? But I tell you, if you went to work and your dog paid on the floor, and 8 hours later you walked in the door and you smudged that dog's face in its cold pee on the floor, that dog has no idea what he's getting it for. He has no idea what you're mad at him for because he peed on the floor 8 hours ago, right? I don't know where that came from. There's something there, and I'll catch that when I come back in to watch my live. You guys have a great day, and we'll see each other tomorrow. Bye bye.